Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a podcaster. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, improv artist, and I took my first stand-up class yesterday. Kind of proud of myself for that. And I'm a TV host, and I'm your host for what we call the Second Scene podcast. It is a Dweebs Global production. That is why we do the podcast. It is for dweebsglobal.org. They offer free mentorship help, anything from mental health to resume writing and anything in between. They're there to help. It's completely confidential and it's completely free. So dweebsglobal.org. So I'm here today with Kassady Gibson. Kassady started her career in corporate accounting. She was a derivative accountant and did 10K reporting for one of the largest energy companies in the US. She now has a commercial photography business with 2 locations and is in the process of licensing it out across the country. So welcome, Kassady.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. And that's so exciting you did your first improv class.
It was my first stand-up. I've been doing
Or
improv for
stand-up.
years.
That's
Stand-up, it was just me and a microphone. That's like so much scarier than improv. You have like partners.
Oh,
Stand-up,
that's true.
it's just you. So I'm going to start with the most boring question that I could think of. And what is a derivative accountant?
So a derivative accountant is someone who does accounting for swaps and options that a company may enter into. So at the power company where I worked, we bought power and we also bought and sold natural gas. And so whenever they would enter into those contracts, they would go out and buy swaps and options, usually like several years ahead of time, to hedge their bets on, how much money they were going to be or how much exposure they would have in the market at a particular time.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to explain. So we would make sure that they were staying within certain, so pretty much you don't want to overexpose the company. So you do a lot of accounting to make sure it's allocated correctly to all the sub companies within the company. And then it was also to make sure that they weren't going to be overexposed.
Got you. So it's almost like me diversifying my portfolio, except you're diversifying the company's arms.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. Yeah. So their swaps and options, or I'm sorry, their gas and power that they were buying they bought the gas to run the units, and then they would buy and sell power if they would buy it if they could get it cheaper than they could actually make it. And so it's kind of an interesting part of power companies that a lot of people don't know about.
That is interesting. So they could actually buy it from another company for cheaper than they could make it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What would motivate another company to sell it to them and not just straight to the consumer?
Because they're going to make more money off of it doing that way, or they have excess power.
Oh, okay.
So because every day you have to they strategically look at how many megawatts are going to be produced in a day. So depending on the temperatures and a lot of different load factors that are going on at the time, they're always off by a little bit. So like 1 megawatt of power generates around 1,700 homes. And so that's a lot of, like, if every megawatt you're off costs the company millions of dollars potentially. So this is a way for them to recoup those losses and make money sometimes too.
Oh, wow. I never thought that. I guess I never really realized that the power companies needed to know how much power was going to be needed. They can't just on the spot quickly change it, I guess.
Right, because they have to give each location time to ramp up their units. Sometimes they'll have 3 or 4 units, and depending on if it's a coal-fired generator or a gas-fired or nuclear plant, they're going to need more lead time.
Got you. Which one takes the most lead time?
I know oil is I don't even know. I know oil takes a while or is the most expensive. Probably nuclear, I would guess, because there's so many regulatory pieces that go along with that.
Right. God, that's a question I never thought I'd be asking, but it's actually that question, the derivative accountant sidetrack I went on was actually much more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting job. I enjoyed it.
Oh, nice. Not enough to stick with it, because then you went and changed careers.
That is true.
So
go ahead.
I was just going to ask what was the reason you started changing careers?
So I did love my job and I loved what I did, and loved the people I worked with, but I just knew that there was something more out there that I was supposed to be doing. And at the same time, I had just had my youngest or my oldest daughter. I have two girls, and I wanted to spend more time with them. I wanted more flexibility. And so those two things kind of colliding all at the same time, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so over a course of, I guess it was about a year and a half, I, really just researched it and thought about it. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just knew I wanted to do something. So I slowly started, I always loved photography. So I kind of started down that path and eventually was able to leave. So.
Okay, so you'd always loved photography. Was it a hobby you were really pursuing beforehand, or did you just
No,
love
not at all.
photography?
I just loved it. And I guess whenever I was little, our house burned. And so we lost a lot of memories and stuff. So I was just kind of, I don't know, I always wanted pictures. And so I was just wanted to document everything. So I definitely was not good at all whenever I first began. But I always, like, growing up and through college and whenever I was in younger, I would take a lot of pictures at, whatever I was doing, a trip,
Okay, that's
event,
just
things.
amazing that you went from something that was barely even a hobby of yours to creating a successful business out of it. Like most people, if they leave one business, they're like, I'm going to go do something that I've been doing on the side and I know I'm really good at. That wasn't what you did. You really took
No,
a risk.
I did. I just had a passion for it, and it was a calculated risk. So I kind of slowly ramped up, um, and it worked out where my oldest, when she was getting out of preschool, was whenever I had built up enough business. So the being able to not have preschool payments every month and was okay. Like, it helped with the pay cut that I got whenever I left. So.
Okay. So what was the first thing you did when you started this photography company? What did you have certain clientele you were going after, or what was what was your first company goals?
So whenever I started doing family photography like a lot of photographers do, just because, you have friends that are like, oh, hey, can you take pictures of this and that? And so it was just kind of easy. And that's where I started. And I honestly, like, this was whenever I was still at Southern, I would do mini sessions around holidays and things like that. So I could concentrate it on the weekends, which was a great way to earn money. And I was able to purchase all the equipment I wanted and things like that through that type of process. But then I quickly learned that family photography was not for me. It was, either mom was mad or dad was mad or the kids were mad. So I was like, there has to be a better, like, way to do this. And the other piece was I was working at nights and weekends, and the whole point of this was to spend more time with my family and or to have a flexible lifestyle.
Right,
And
right.
so my husband at the time, he owned a digital marketing agency. He had about 1,200 clients at the time, and they were always needing pictures. Like, this barbecue company wanted pictures of their barbecue sauce, and somebody else needed pictures of their location. So around the same time, this was 2015 or
Mhm.
2014, somewhere around there, Google had this great program. It was called Google Business View. Now it's called Google Street View, but it was where, I don't know if you've ever seen the 360 tours or virtual tours on Google Maps.
Oh yeah, I have them. I have them in both of my stores. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of his clients were asking for those. So I was like, well, how hard can it be? I'll go get certified. And
Mhm.
it took me about 6 months. And at the time, you had to go through this, like, rigorous process with Google to even get through the training. And so I started doing Google tours and got more involved with business photography. And so over time, I just started working with more and more businesses and fell in love with it. So
Okay.
especially because I could use my corporate background to help as well.
Right.
So
So does Google not do these 360 tours anymore of inside of stores, inside of
they
businesses?
do, yeah, they do, but it's really cost prohibitive for businesses. And
Yeah.
so it's unless you have like say if you have a restaurant at a beach, like, that would be a great
Mhm.
reason to do it. But at the time and they also now they have, oh goodness, what are they called? Like the little 360 cameras
Mm-hmm.
that you can use. And at the time you had to use like the DSLR with the fisheye lens
Right.
and like the big, it was, 10,000 for the setup,
Right.
just for the camera equipment.
I can't say that I've ever used the 360 view to see anyone else's business except for my own. I think Google has really tried to push it, but I don't think it went to where they were hoping.
The ones where there was an Irish pub that I did down in Destin, Florida, and that particular one just hit 50 million views, which
Holy
is
cow.
crazy. So I still get updates on all of them.
Okay, so I'm an anomaly then. That I don't go in and explore the inside of a store.
Yeah.
Or a
But I guess
restaurant.
it's nice, like if you're somewhere that you're not used to going, you can look and say, oh, this place looks really cool. And that place is amazing. They have money all over the walls and it's really fun. So
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I could see it being awesome for museums and other destinations like that.
Another one that I did that was really interesting was for gardens, botanical gardens. And so they used it for ADA compliance. So there are certain parts where you can't get a wheelchair or things like that. So they would do the tour so that everybody could see. And we did them where it was in prime blooming season for each of the little sections of the garden. So it was really beautiful.
Wow, that's awesome. That's very cool. And using the technology for something else that I wouldn't even have thought of. So
yep.
I want to jump back to your family photography because I couldn't imagine what you had to deal with. Like how many Karens did you meet?
Oh my gosh. Thank goodness. Well, I don't know. It would have been great for social media back then if we called them Karens, because I had all kinds of stories. It was usually the kids were great. It was either dad was just so mad because he wanted to be watching football or not be there at all. He had to get dressed up, did not like it.
Really?
And then you had some dads that loved it, but then the moms were just furious because the kids weren't cooperating. But so many people think that they have to have those smiled posed pictures, but saying smile to a kid is like the worst thing you can do when you're taking pictures. It's usually better just to make silly faces and be goofy, and you can get them to smile that way.
Got more of a candid shot is what you really have to do, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the struggle with family photography that I found was, no shows or people decide, oh, well, I don't have our outfits ready, and they have to, reschedule last minute. They don't really value your time because I guess and it's not always like that, but there are a lot of people that kind of take advantage of you. So I didn't like that part of it.
No, that's very frustrating because you really have to go through a lot, I'm sure, to get it all set up and ready for them and preparation. I was just thinking in my head, is there a word for men who are Karens?
I don't know.
Really,
you should make one up.
I know there needs to be.
It really does.
What was did you have kids that were like peeing on the set? And
no, usually the kids were great, which I love. Like, kids are so fun to me, so I kind of go with the flow. I one shoot, I actually even like picked up a lizard and chased the kids with it to get them to have fun with it. Because usually, like, if they're ever upset, it's usually because mom or dad's mad at them.
Got you.
Or that's what I found.
Yeah. Did you were you predicting which couples were getting divorced shortly after the photography session?
No, but it's interesting to look back on it.
Yeah.
Now, so yeah.
Is it can you see like tall tale signs? You'd be like somebody like a good psychiatrist would want to pick your brain. And
hey, that'd be a good person to partner with.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got sick of that. So then you went into corporate photography, which was great that your husband was already in the business, and I guess that really helped you get a foot in the door. I know it's competing with online stock photography. That's always got to be tough. I guess you're new to it, so it's always been there since you've been in business. Right,
it has. Actually, my tagline for my business is "Don't let stock photos tell your story." So, because that's one of the big things that it's definitely okay to use it. Like, there's nothing wrong with using stock photography, but if you really want to stand out today, it's so important to, not just show yourself, like you don't, there's certain businesses where it doesn't make sense for there to be a personal brand, but there are a lot of them that do. And so what we do is really work with a company to make sure that they understand who their audience is and what their audience wants to learn from them to develop what types of photos we take and all that kind of stuff. So we work with, if they have a branding agency, we work with them, but really just dig in to understand what even makes sense to help portray visually what they want their customers to say.
Right, right. And it's amazing how many places will use stock photography and their actual product or what they're trying to sell has nothing to do with the photography at all. It doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah,
just,
a great example of that is a financial company or a lawyer. You go, I mean, if you look up just about any lawyer or financial company, they're going to have a picture of the city they're in. They're going to have, like it's just basic. I mean, the lawyer's going to have the gavel, the financial guy's going to have like the little stock or whatever, like a chart. And, but if you think about it, a financial planner's perspective, if you're going to a financial planner because you want to invest your money well and do really well with it, you don't want to be in the same town that you're in. You probably want to be like in the mountains or on the beach or like in this great little lake house, like present a picture of like happiness and like where somebody wants to be, where they aspire to be, and not just in their same house doing what they've always done.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. For my stores, I have to update them now. Oh no. We take photos of all of our employees, and I love that. And I love when I go to other sites and you can see other businesses and you can see the employees are having fun or, just who they are and a little bio about them. I don't think enough businesses do that. It really adds such a great personal touch.
It really does, because it humanizes your brand. So people, before they even come in or before they have an interaction with you, if you're online, they know that you're a real person and that, I think there's such a disconnect right now because things are online so much more, but if you don't add that human element to it, I love employee bio, and it's great to use on social too, because you can do employee highlights, which it helps your customers feel connected, but it also makes your employees feel valued.
Well, I am putting a note now to update mine because I think it's been about 2 years and we have had, because of COVID, especially, we've had a bit of a shift in the employees. But people come in all the time. They're like, we came in because your faces look so happy and friendly. And
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So your photographer did good.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She did. I don't think she's in the area anymore though. So I will have to find a new one. I think you're too far away. Where are you located?
So I live in Fairhope, Alabama now. I was in Birmingham, and then we moved in the middle of the pandemic. So
okay.
Yeah. We have a photographer in Birmingham now that took over the Birmingham location, and then I serve the South, like Gulf Coast area.
Okay, so that's how you have two locations. So you started one location and then you moved and opened the second location. Were you easily able to have somebody else take it over and still keep the quality?
Yes, because I was very picky on that to begin with. He had not had a photography company before, but he was an excellent photographer, and it's kind of funny. He has a similar background to me because he was in corporate finance as well and decided he wanted a complete career change and decided to come do this.
Okay. And you're planning on opening, well, actually, I want to go back. I was just in Alabama for the first time in my life. I was on the border of Florida and Alabama. I don't know how far that is from you, but there was
it's about 30 minutes. Were you in Pensacola or?
Yes.
Like
and I went to that bar. It's a famous bar, Florida Bama.
Oh, Floribama. Yeah, you're like 30. You were 30 minutes from me.
Okay. People that don't know, you got to go to Pensacola and see this. It is this massive, huge bar club. I don't know what to call it, but they have like 3 stages of live music. They have outdoor space. I mean, and you could tell it's just been added on top. Like they just keep adding to it over the years. Like that building is such a mishmash.
It's an interesting place. It's so much fun though. Definitely do not plan on taking your kids to the bar side. If you go across the street to the Floribama Yacht Club, then that's a great place to take kids, and like you can drive your boat up, and they have the best crab hush puppies there I've ever had.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only saw it at night, so I didn't even get to experience the daytime part.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Did
what
you
a
get the
cool.
bushwhacker?
I did not. No, I wasn't with
That's
locals, so I didn't get like the local treatment. We were all out of
okay.
towners.
Well,
But it
next
was
time you'll have to get it.
yeah, it was incredible live music though. I'm not even like a country fan, and I was thoroughly
Hmm.
enjoying the live music. So it sounded great. It was wild.
Well, good.
Yeah. So you are planning on expanding your two stores.
Hmm.
Is this something you're in the process of doing right now?
Yeah, so I'm actually in November, I'm launching a course to teach people who are wanting to get into brand photography how to set up their business foundation, how to find those ideal clients, what all they need to do, like what systems they need in place, and how to actually be profitable as a photographer. And so that's where we're starting first. And then we want to expand to other markets as well as we find great photographers who would be a good fit. Because we really love helping small businesses, which we've worked with, large scale businesses, smaller, but we found that there's such a need in the small business community. And we found so many people that are taken advantage of. And, I want to grow it, but I want to grow it slow in a way where we cultivate the right experience for the photographers, and we'll be able to keep what we've done so far in other communities
Got you. Yeah,
as
as a
well.
small business owner, I know it's hard and it's intimidating to go out and try to find a
Mhm.
photographer for your business or even understand why you need one. Um,
Mhm.
you don't a lot of small businesses don't think that's an option for them.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we've done is we've positioned our packages in a way that makes sense for small businesses. So, some people really just need photos for maybe to refresh their website. But then some people need that constant ongoing social media content. And so we work with them to figure out which one fits them best. But, at this point, we've worked with over 500 businesses. Like, we know what works and what doesn't. And one of the biggest things that we've seen, which this isn't the case for everybody, um, but a lot of people will go in and they'll do a 1 day photo shoot. They'll spend thousands of dollars and have all these beautiful pictures. But then in 3 months, 6 months, they're like, we are so tired of these. They don't really work. Or the worst part is that they saw that their customers didn't really acclimate to them. And so it's kind of funny how in line um, the photography business is with my old job, which is feels so weird, but there's a lot of math and analytics involved in it, the way we do it. And so we really look at the photos that are used on whatever platform, and we see if it's converting sales. Is it getting people from your social media pages to your website? Is Are people leaving your homepage when you changed it to the new pictures? So we look to see what they actually react to and what they like. And so we do photos on a recurring basis where we do shorter shoots on monthly by monthly or quarterly basis. And then we go in and we're constantly analyzing like how people are interacting with those photos. And then we learn over time how to make the photo shoot smarter and more in line with what your audience likes.
That's great. And you do this all for small businesses.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
amazing. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard of any photographers in the area here. I'm in DC metro area. There's got to be, but it's not something I've seen advertised or
Hmm.
even really talked about. I do a lot of analytics on my website, but yeah, I've never directly tied it to the pictures, which just seemed logical. But
Yeah, I mean, because the pictures draw you in. Like the words have to work. Like your copy's got to be good. There's no doubt about that. But your pictures are what's going to draw someone in and make them feel connected to you before they even read anything. And so if there's that disconnect, it's going to make they're not going to quite be able to place it, but they're going to be like, something's just not quite right. I don't feel aligned. And it also in a good way repels the people that aren't your right audience. So you're going to get your more ideal clients in faster and get them converted into working with you quicker with great pictures.
got you. Yeah, whenever I see companies using clip art, I'm always like, no, like it's so hard to convey emotion or to grab attention and
Mhm.
emotion to get somebody to feel at a clip art. And it
It
always
is.
frustrates me. I'm like, no, that's like the worst thing you can do. It's just a cold. surface you're looking at.
Yeah.
So I wish you were in the DC metro area because I'd probably hire you right now. You got me very excited about what you do.
So Stuart, but he has the Birmingham location. He was in DC a few weeks ago for a Read Award. So he won a Read Award for a campaign that he worked on. It was a social media piece he did all these videos and photos. It was beautiful.
Oh, wow. What is a Read Award? What is that?
A Read Award is like it's one of the top award programs for political campaigns. So it was very interesting in a year like 2020 that he won. It was for a mayoral campaign.
Okay.
And it was one that who won? I want to say, I'm not going to say because I can't remember, but whoever won it last year, it was for best social media campaign for independent.
Okay. And the person won that he was doing it for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was nominated.
Okay.
Yeah, he was nominated for 4 different categories, but that was the one he ended up winning. So it was a huge honor.
Did the political person he was doing it for, did they win?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, by a landslide, actually, by like 75%. A Gibson incumbent, which was amazing.
Wow, that's a good one to have on the resume.
It is, yes. Political campaigns are his thing. He is so good at them.
Yeah.
He just gets it, so.
Well, this has been very interesting. Where can people find you?
So they can find us at Focus Creative Co. on our website, Instagram, and Facebook. And then if anybody is interested in getting into brand photography and want to learn more about the course, you can learn about that at the brandphotographersblueprint.com. Okay,
great. Well, we will put links below the videos and below the podcast so that people can find it easily. And thank you so much for being here, Cassady.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
This was very fun. So everyone out there, this has been a Dweebs Global production, dweebsglobal.org. Go for free mentorship help, anything from resume writing to free mental health, completely confidential. And I keep saying free because it's free. Can you believe that? It's free. dweebsglobal.org. And we'll see you next week. And thanks again, Cassady.
Thank you.